scleroderma in your arms and legs, and then I'm going to give you the answer. Because you're always dumping adrenaline, which is going to your arms and legs, and you're stealing the energy from your core, because you're always, even whether you don't believe this or not, you can't have scleroderma in your arms and legs unless you have high acidity from the adrenaline that you're pumping all the time to help you run away from the tiger that's not real. It's not okay. And this is what you need to get a handle on. Because if you're dumping adrenaline that you've got scleroderma in your arms and legs, then we know that you are running a high acid situation, which means that you will burn up anything that tries to alkaline you. And what the calcium ions will do if you're in this situation, which is very rare, because I'll tell you something right now. And you can think that it's me trying to protect the product and the money you paid, but it's not. It's you burning out the product as it comes in with the program that you're doing. I'll tell you right now, I know people aren't going to believe this, but we sell, okay, $500,000 to $750,000 of ionic calcium every month. I hear of somebody, it not doing what it needs to do once every 6 months to 8 months, 9 months maybe. And I'm not exaggerating. It is working, but it is stopping the demise of you. See, you have to understand, if I had a person that knew how to breathe and they calmed down and they knew about self-love and they minded their own business, they didn't take things personal, they drank enough structured water, they have a smile on their face which alkalines their body, which never, you cannot smile and dump adrenaline into your body, so we know you don't smile a lot. Okay? So if you're smiling a lot, you cannot dump your adrenals. It's where the physiological will overrule the mental. It will. A smile is your greatest weapon in the world. If somebody came in here and said, I'm going to sue your butt and your mother just died, I'd smile. Because that'd be too traumatic for me. I'd cause a heart attack, fart attack. Because I know I'd need to calm down, because I only need the first minute to just stay in alignment with myself so I don't lose myself. So the reality is that the calcium ions are working, and they're just trying to slow down the fire that's raging in you already. So I would also be putting you on SON formula, amino acids, because you're actually eating up your muscle. You're not losing weight, you're losing muscle. Because the adrenaline, when you keep pumping it like this, it eats away the muscles of the body. Yeah. Go ahead, Keith.
Can I ask you as well there as well? So because she's also on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 medications, or 6 medications.
She's on 6 medications. Are you like out of your skull? First of all, okay, she doesn't need to be on at least 5 of them or 4 of them. And the others you don't need to be on, but psychologically she would have to stay on. So now, I want everybody to understand something. 2 medications, you're dancing with the devil. Over 2 medications, you're toast. Nobody even knows what's going on. You've just destroyed your brain and your nervous system. And with 6 medications, it won't be long before she totally breaks down. Totally, she'll be gone. She's gonna have a heart attack, or she's gonna have a seizure, or she's gonna have Alzheimer's, because one drug is so acidic to drop your pH. Every drug is a poison. So why is she trying to kill herself on a subconscious level? I want to know why. 6 drugs? My God, you know? I'd rather be on 6 different street drugs instead of medication, because they're not as toxic as the medication being put all together. Seriously, that is really dangerous. You know, if you can do 2 drugs and they'll still cause what we call blind chemistry. First of all, let me make this perfectly clear. You might want to write this down. There's been no studies on women with drugs ever in the history of medicine. It's only when it comes to drugs It's only done on men and animals, because you cannot test a drug on a woman because she has a period every 30 days or so. So the reality is, we don't even know what the hell this is doing to her one drug, but she's on 6. So if she told me that she was happily married, I wouldn't believe her. If she told me that she was happy about her life, I wouldn't believe her. Okay? If she told me that she authentically loves herself, honors herself, I wouldn't believe her, because she doesn't know what love is yet. And she doesn't. She's never truly loved herself. She might have grandchildren, love them all to pieces, but guess what? This is not going to work. So what do you do? What do you do with someone way out on the edge of a cliff, right? First of all, for anybody to even think that beyond 6 drugs, that anything can override that, that's like a person going, Dr. Wolf, I'm taking my natural supplementation, and my doctor says that I can't be on it because the chemo, it will hurt the chemo. And I go, listen, the chemo destroys everything in its path. You can't even stop it. And you know what? If you do the supplementation, it might just bring your symptoms down, that you don't lose your hair and your mind. And also it might just get the residue. I mean, where's all the residue of these 6 drugs that she's on every day going? Into her liver. Into her liver. And understand something, her liver can't take it. Her organs can't take it. So you know what they say? It's better you lose your limbs than your organs. So now the drugs are going into her limbs, which are creating inflammation, which is causing scar tissue formation. And every time she creates anxiety for herself, because nobody's on 6 drugs without having panic attacks. And if she says she doesn't have panic attacks, she really does. She has these small little anxious attacks, but she's learned how to keep herself kind of, you know, calm to the point that she doesn't need a straitjacket. So understand something, that she is so far from what real health is, and it's not her fault, okay? This is what happens when you're a woman and you become desperate, okay? And you become desperate for answers and to be well. Listen, if you can't get rid of the pain that you're suffering, whether it's emotional or physical, you're gonna numb yourself after a while, because you know you don't really want to kill yourself, at least not yet. But you are killing yourself if you don't get to the root cause. So first is learning how to love yourself. The other thing is this. You couldn't eat a diet. I don't care what you decide to eat. You would never eat a diet that's as toxic as her health plan. So it's insane. The whole thing's insane. And to actually think, you know, even if she was, think about this. So when you take the ionic calcium, it takes you back to when you were 15, 16, 17 years old, when you broke and made calcium the way you should. And that's why people heal from every autoimmune disease. Now, if she was 16 years old and I put a 16-year-old woman on 6 different drugs, how would she be doing right now?
No.
She'd be suicidal. She'd have diarrhea, constipation. She'd have heart fluctuations. She might even start to have seizures. So whoever has her on the 6 drugs should go to jail, because they're killing her. But are they killing her? Or is there a subconscious program where she's actually trying to kill herself? I think it's the other one. And guess what? You can always find someone to harm you. Go to the medical system any day of the week. Pick. You know what? You can pick it from 12:01 a.m. to 12:01 p.m. And it doesn't matter when you go, you're going to get harmed. So she's opted totally into the medical system. So the calcium is doing its job. It's probably saved her from some type of fatal reaction. And if I was her, I'd be on it. And will it make headway and make her better? Really? Up against 6 of the most acidic, toxic things that you could take. and then mix them together like a mad scientist. Then they've never been tested together or studied, because women can never be studied with the medication they take. So guess what? Everybody's insane. But guess what? We're going to look at it because the calcium's not doing its job. Really. Really. Okay. So I just want, nobody, whatever is done the most, whatever the majority of the population do, whatever is accepted, you don't look at it. A smoker will actually come in and say, I got to stay home. I caught the flu from Martha last night. Yeah, I know. It had nothing to do with smoking. So your lifestyle has nothing to do with nothing. This whole conversation is insane because people are insane. And the reality is guess what? Merigen is the best product on the planet. So is the C60. So is the iodine. So is the black diamond. She needs to be on all of them, just to put the fire down if she'd like to hang around. And if she doesn't want to hang around, she's doing a really good job. Because I'll tell you something. Most people only take 2 or 3 different drugs when they want to kill themselves, not 6. And see, I will talk the truth because it doesn't matter. The person can say, well, you've disrespected me. I'm never going to spend my money there. But now I'm not going to have her spending her money and disrespecting herself and telling me it's me. But she didn't know she was disrespecting herself because nobody's helping her out. So it's not her fault. None of this is her fault. But she needs to wake up right now because I just gave her a conversation and said she's trying to kill herself on a subconscious level and doesn't know it. And nobody in her family is awake enough to even know it because they're all morons too. Morons meaning not stupid, moronic beliefs that the more drugs that mom takes, my wife takes, my friend takes, the less I'm going to have to listen to her complain. Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing either.
Does that resonate with you?
What?
That makes sense to you?
Yeah, I think the last sentence makes real sense. You made a lot of it.
I understand you're under the care of a doctor, but you're kind of start thinking action.
She's not under the care of a doctor, Keith. Please do not talk like that. She's under the care of a surgeon, okay, and a physician. It is illegal for them to call themselves doctors. Look on the medical site. There's no word of doctor. It's illegal. So anyways, let's make this perfectly clear. Unless she wants to get a perfect day consult and repay for it, and this time work with someone. I'll work with her if she wants. But guess what? We've got a drug addict. Like every other drug addict that we're going to have to wean off. And the problem with weaning off a drug addict is not the problem with the drugs. We've got the greatest products in the world. The black diamond, okay? The black gold, the infinite iodine, the Merigen, the C60, and a few other things we do. And start off gentle. But then she's got to find a doctor because whoever the doctor is that she goes to, okay, he's a drug pusher. Yeah. And he's worse than the guy on the street. Because the guy on the street would at least say, slow down maybe. You know? I don't want you to OD. This guy, you know what? No matter who gets murdered, he's protected by the elite, by the Rockefellers. Do you see the story here?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Keith, we don't need to go into anything with her. She needs to decide whether or not she wants to live. So she's going to have to detoxify herself off these drugs. And she's going to have to stop reacting to things differently. She's going to have to start doing the mirror work, Keith. She's going to have to get a love band, Keith. She's going to have to not allow her husband or anybody else to treat her like a rug, because we know that this woman allows people to disrespect her. Because you would have to be drugged on 6 drugs because you don't stand up for yourself, because you don't love yourself enough to change your life enough. So don't take her off the topic of what I just said, Keith. This is all about her loving the little girl in her and standing up and putting a smile on her face, and you know what? I matter. I matter. And when somebody says something to me, if it's not in the best interest of my healing and me loving myself, I'm not going to accept it. Like I've accepted the way people treat me and what they've done to me all my life. You can understand, if you want to find a predator, it's not hard. My God, I don't even have to leave the resort. Okay, I think that, you can think this over. You can talk to Keith if you want, but, and then Keith, you can come back to me and tell me what her plan is.
Yeah, we'll probably have to do another Saturday consult because things have changed for you. Create a protocol.
Well, if we do it, Keith, you'll be on the line, and then instead of her paying $450 US to me, she'll pay me $150, and I'll redo it if she wants. And then you'll be on the line so that we both work with her, because our intentions are pure. But the reality is guess what? We did it right, but you can't win the fight when you come up against these terrorists. All right, I'll leave the two of you to talk. Thank you.
Before you hang out, Doc, like you said you wanted to go to the meeting. Are you available tomorrow for a few hours?
Well, where are you going? I thought we were doing it today.
Oh, okay. I told them today. I got started in about another hour.
Well, here's hoping you do better with those ones than you did with this one.